Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report. It's Buschy with you once again, and today what we are going to do is go through our crazy off-season with free agents, signings, trades, buyouts, you name it. So the last video I did was our more realistic offseason, what I think Steve Yzerman is going to do, most likely. Just looking at the numbers and what roster spots are available, the free agents available. Just like last time, we're going to use that analytics site. It's called AFP Analytics, where they've gone in, looked at all the free agents, and projected what their contract is going to be, just so there's no guesswork, and I can't really flood the system and say Mo Seider's going to make $5 million. He's not. So my goals were just like the first roster that we did, was try to improve the team defense, maintain our offense, and improve the goaltending. Just basically make the team better in all facets. And again, this isn't going to maybe be as realistic, but some of the trades and some of the moves, if they worked out, I think would make this team very, very good, and we're talking a playoff contender. So number one, we're looking at buyouts, and this is something where this is my absolute pipe dream. I think that if we buy out Andrew Kopp, Justin Hall, and Jeff Petrie, we're cooking. We've got some savings that way. And we still have Abdelkader on the books, which is hilarious, and Kyler Yamamoto, who was a Red Wings legend. He's still on the books, so we would have 5 buyouts, and now a few of these would be for a couple seasons. So we're giving up on these guys because I don't think they were effective. Hall and Petrie for sure. Kopp I'm just not a fan of, and I don't want to pay him $5 million to be a third or fourth liner. So in this version of the roster, I only made one trade, and it's a little bit of a bigger one. Now, we went for Philip Gustafsson in our realistic one. In this one, got a little bit crazier, but I still think it could be realistic. We're going to Anaheim. We're phoning up our buddy, Pat Verbeek, if you're Steve Yzerman, and you're going, hey, John Gibson has been on a terrible team for a long time. He's probably not a part of your future. You have Lucas Dostal. Let's go and grab him. He's got a couple years left at $6.3 million. Let's give you a goalie in return. Now, Ville Husso, that's a guy that's going to be with Anaheim for 1 year, and he's making like $4 million, 4.5, something like that. So we're getting rid of that salary. We're also going to throw in Robbie Fabry as a useful top 9 player, and probably, honestly, top 6 in Anaheim. And his $4 million salary, we're going to have to throw in a pick as well. I went with a third-round pick this season. So Fabry, Husso, third-round pick for John Gibson, straight up. So now we're looking at having a 1-2 tandem of John Gibson and Alex Lyon. And we're looking at Alex Lyon's contract is up after this season. Gibson's going to be there an extra season. What I'm trying to do is stagger the contracts for when Sebastian Cossa is finally ready to come up. In this world, not having 3 goalies, Sebastian Cossa probably gets a couple games here and there this season, depending on injuries or if he's playing really well or one of these guys isn't. All of these restricted free agent signings are going to look very familiar to you guys. It's exactly the same as I did in the realistic one. Raymond coming in at 7.8 for 7 years. Seider coming in 7.6 for 6. Joe Veleno, $1 million for a year. Again, I'm okay waiting him out. Jonathan Berggren, I got 1.1 for 2 years, and Albert Johansson, $950K for 2 years. So all the restricted free agents are exactly the same as the realistic one. Unrestricted free agency was very interesting because I brought back Patrick Kane again at 5.5 for 3 years. Again, we talked about that in a video in the past. It was about a month ago about I'm okay with giving Kane that. I think the benefits far outweigh the risks. And the 2 big name free agents we're going to go after, and I guess we can say they're not really in the top tier of players, but number one is Steven Stamkos. We know that we were titillated with maybe Stamkos coming here. I think it was in 2014, something like that. He went to visit Toronto. He was going to be in Detroit, and I think his visit in Toronto went so badly that he said, screw it, I'm going back to Tampa. So I'm bringing in Steven Stamkos for 3 years, which brings him to when he's 36 years old for $6.3 million. Now, he's still a very effective player. He hasn't been playing center that much. Now, that's a key because on this roster, he's starting on the wing, but because he has that capability of playing center, we can move him there if we need to. And the other one is going to be a big boy on the back end, and that's Nikita Zadorov. He's playing for Vancouver right now. He is unrestricted. We're going to sign him for $5 million for 4 years. This guy is a beast, and I think he would fit the locker room really well if you've seen interviews with him. A little bit of a character and a big body that plays physical and has some hands. He plays very well. I've always been a fan of him, and he is a defenseman that plays both sides. So that's something that's really nice that we can probably kick him over to the right side on D. So here's our situation. Again, we've lost a third-round pick. This is just the same as our realistic one. And we're going in with $9,582 in cap space. So we're razor thin here on the margins. And again, this is taken into consideration. This is from the analytical site. I didn't make up any of these numbers. Here's the lineup. Now, you tell me, you hear this. Tell me if you think playoffs. Tell me if you think they're a little bit of a contender. Top line, we're not breaking up Kane and DeBrincat. We're putting Kane, DeBrincat, and Dylan Larkin together. I think that's a no-brainer. You put them there. Here's my pipe dream. That Nate Danielson makes this team and is immediately a Dylan Larkin type player. When Larkin was a rookie, he played very, very well. We're going to put him with Lucas Raymond and Steven Stamkos. Ample opportunity. Stamkos is a shooter. Raymond can do it all. Danielson, I hope, is more of a two-way guy that can finish as well. He looked really good in the preseason last season. I really don't think he would look out of place, especially if you give him those minutes. On the third line, we have another rookie. Marco Kasper's coming up, and he's playing with JT Compher and Jonathan Berggren. I really like that line. JT Compher, I think, would be an awesome third-line centerman. Now, yeah, he's making 5.1. I'd rather him be there than Andrew Kopp. I think he's way more effective, and he actually scores some goals once in a while. Marco Kasper is going to be in the NHL at one point this year. Is he going to be full-time or not? Who knows? We'll see how that goes, but on my team, he's in. Jonathan Berggren's going to be in that top 9 role, and I think that's where he needs to be. Now, ideally, he'd be in the top 6, but right now he's going to start on that third line and see where it goes. And the fourth line is a decent checking line. We got Joe Veleno with Michael Rasmussen and Carter Mazur. So 3 rookies in the lineup on forward, okay? So we're counting. That's 3. We go into the defense. We got Jake Wellman with Mo Seider. That was a pretty decent pair. I have Edvinsson with Sidorov. So now we have our twin towers on the back end. That's an awesome top 4 in my opinion. Then we have Olli Maatta with Ben Sherratt. Olli Maatta was a very good defensive defenseman this season. Ben Sherratt actually was pretty good. I mean, compared to the season he had the year before, he was pretty serviceable. And then Albert Johansson's coming in as our 7th D, so he would have to really knock somebody else out of the lineup or have an injury happen. And then, like I said, our goaltenders, John Gibson and Alex Lyon. I think Gibson on the right team, like the Red Wings, you know, with the right defense in front of him with some goal scoring, can be a very good goalie. And I think he's just been wasted in Anaheim. They really haven't had, you know, a playoff team since he was almost like a rookie or his first few years in the league. And I think maybe he wants a change of scenery, and maybe he'd be willing to come to Detroit. And this is a loaded roster, in my opinion. You look at the power play lines, DeBrincat, Larkin, Kane, Raymond, and Seider. Like I said in the last video, load them up. The second power play would be Stamkos, Danielson, Berggren, Compher, and Jake Wellman. I think it is time for Seider to run his own power play and be on power play 1. I'm totally fine with Wallman or even Edvinsson, you know, taking over that power play 2 role, but I would be playing those as like a 70-30. But like with these, with Stamkos, Danielson, Berggren, like you can move these guys all over the place. I think you would have 2 really good lines. And then on the penalty killer, we're looking with Larkin and Compher, Sherratt and Seider, 4 defensive players that were on the penalty kill this year. And then we have Rasmussen, Veleno, Maatta, and then Zadorov. So we're adding to the PK there as well. So the theme with this one, just like the first one, was, hey, let's increase team defense. So getting Zadorov, getting John Gibson, I think that will help a lot. The only thing that's going to hinder this style of team is going to be there's 5 rookies in the lineup. And I'm counting Albert Johansson. In the starting lineup right here, I have 4, but Johansson is 5. If you don't think there isn't going to be growing pains, there will be. And if this is something that you want the Red Wings to do, just be prepared that, yeah, it looks great on paper, but guys like Kasper, Danielson, Mazur, Edvinsson, and Johansson, they're going to go through growing pains through the year. I mean, we saw it with Lucas Raymond. We saw it in Dylan Larkin in his second season. They had to refigure it out almost. Now, I'm hoping Alex DeBrincat can have, I would say, a bounce back season. He was a little bit streaky. A full season of Patrick Kane is going to help the offense for sure. Obviously, having a guy like Steven Stamkos in your lineup and Jonathan Berggren, adding him, I think you're adding so much offense, and you've increased the defense. You have a better goaltender now. Well, 2 really good goaltenders. I think this is where, you know, I would go if I was Yzerman. I would be this aggressive because there's no time like the present. That's my argument. Let's go after these guys. So what do you guys think about this roster? Do you like it? Are there any changes you would make? Like if you were looking at this site, if you go to AP Analytics, you can look at comparables and go, well, I don't really like Stamkos for 6.3. Okay, well, who else is in that threshold that you'd want? Is it Jonathan Marchessault? You know, who's the player that you would rather have? And you can see in this lineup, we lost a lot of players. We lost Perron, we lost Gostisbehere, Sprong, Fabry's gone, Hall, Petrie, Kopp. We've got rid of like 7 players and brought in new ones to replace them. This is my pipe dream. I don't think this is going to happen. But if some of this did, I'd be all for it. That means Nate Danielson is way better than I thought. It's better, Marco Casper making the team, Carter Mazur being kind of a fourth line kind of grinder type player. Maybe he turns into a Tyler Bertuzzi type. Who knows? So this is my pipe dream. If you guys have done one of these cap-friendly interactive GMs, I would love for you guys to share them with me. If you even want to like copy and paste maybe the lines that you had, your forward lines, your defense, some of the trades you've made, who would you buy out, who would you sign, who are your targets, who are your favorites. I am all for that. We have a long off season. I mean, we have another month until free agency and also the draft. But let me know. I mean, I'm open to all ideas because sometimes I will see some of that stuff and go, you know what? I'm going to try this again because I liked your guys' idea, maybe a little bit more than mine. So what'd you think? Leave it in the comments. If you liked today's video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more Red Wings content. I'll see you in the next one.